Hey everyone. So I wanted to um, discuss something that I had just realized. So I was in a conversation just now, and actually, I need to say hello to my new subscribers. Shout out to y'all. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the reality. So something usually comes to my awareness, and I like to share that with everyone because what happens is a lot of people on YouTube, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people have their 2 cents and intuition and a lot of insight on where we are, where the energies are coming from, the energies that are coming in, and so I like the different approach by saying through a life experience, through a life example, I try to keep a life story and a dialogue so it's available for others to establish, adding their dialogue with my comments and establishing that kind of dialogue with myself so that we all know that we're in this together. So first, I would kind of want to apologize if I say I a lot in my videos because as I'm starting to learn a lot about the ego, I'm feeling a little bit of pressure to figure out how to establish talking about things in videos going forward without that letter. So I will be looking at establishing videos where the perspective is out and forward and not on reflection. So with that said, excuse me for coughing, I want to talk about Judas. Oh yeah, we're going biblical today because Judas I don't know how to say his name, Iscariot. That's not how we say it. I think it's Iscaro in the way that it's pronounced in Hebrew. Um, Iscariot, as we say in America. But I was in a situation that really just went out of hand. And I'm also thinking about these different allegations in society that are talking about assault and harassment. And it just reminds me, I was doing a channeling of someone, and I do this a lot, especially with watching the news and looking at politics, and I try to, do something. And I can read on energy and read on people very well. Excuse me. I should have tea. I think I have tea with me. So there was someone, I won't go into too much detail, but they had an accusation and she publicized it. And she wrote a book about it. And I was like, you claim about something and then you write a book about it. And if people who are enticed by the juicy details of what happened, people are going to buy the book. So it's kind of like a tactic of using people's life force. And when you're angry, you're upset, you're frustrated, it's a life force drain. Kind of like what I went through in the last week. All these different attacks from different people in different corners of my life. And it was just like, I couldn't pick one department in my life. Excuse me. It was all at one time. I lost my marbles. But luckily, my marbles are back. Your boy's ready to kick some ass right now. So I was in the same situation recently, yet again, where an allegation really could have been very damaging and detrimental to me, but not in the form of what we're seeing in media, but the accusation was really in the form of how I oppressed and intimidated people. And in the environment of what I do, it's easy to feel intimidated because it's a workout class and I'm a gym coach. So with that said, it reflected on the story of Judas. And to justify my emotions, and instead of going into the ego and being pissed off and all that stuff, I want to just talk about how Judas did the same thing to Jesus. So Judas Iscariot, please correct me on how to say it. Romanized, which is funny because Roman is kind of like a, you don't trust Rome. Yehuda, Yehuda, Yehuda. His name means God is praised. It's Greek as well. I don't know how to interpret that in Greek, but he died in 33 AD. He lived since 30. He was a disciple, one of the original 12. According to the four, I do not know these words, canonical gospels. What is a canonical gospel? I never heard of that. It's not Coptic. Judas betrayed Jesus, X, Y, and Z, in the Garden of Gethsemane. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm butchering these names. Gethsemane. He kissed him in front of everyone, basically, and proclaimed him as a rabbi. When you do that, Judas, you kind of tell people that this is the religion everyone should worship and call him rabbi. And so, therefore, there's a matrix going on of deception, of having people proclaim these leading prophets these days, calling him rabbi. But Jesus was not Jewish. He was not to be proclaimed as a rabbi. So this is my 2 cents because I do downloads and channel. And I'm not going to read the rest of this because I want to butcher that name too. So I just wanted to do a little background because my situation I just went through reminded me to share about, I think there's a Judas in everyone's story. Everyone has a timeline. If we are a Christ conscious movement, there's a Judas in everyone's timeline. So in this description here, which we kind of went over already, according to all of those gospels, I think I said it right, canonical, he was betrayed, da-da-da-da-da. How was he betrayed? I guess because when you share amongst your trusted group of people, I'll go back to me. Share amongst a group of people the truths and wisdom and things as such. And what happens is someone doesn't agree with how things are going. And they go against you. Thus, a bus is created and it's thrown, and you're thrown under that bus. Long story short, you go under the endurance. So I was in a conversation today, and my internet stopped working. So I was under the in a phone conversation today, and we were talking about when one endures suffering, do they have to go through that every time they have synchronicities with people? Oh, good, my internet's back on. And so my answer to him was yes. Every time that we engage or connect to someone, we interact, we connect timelines with people. Because we're the ones on a higher level, usually what happens is we take on suffering. If they come at you with depression, anxiety, stress, anger, and we integrate timelines, there is suffering. And so, what I'm understanding is, and I'm trying to parallel this with my job. I'm not trying to say too much, but I'm training for something, I'm understudying for something, and I'm learning that to get to the goal of this thing, I have to understand a paper trail. And it's okay to be an example of a paper trail, but a lot of times these paper trails hurt. But in a positive way, we can take running into the wall and self-reflection in a form of encouragement and expanding ourselves on the inside. And then I think by expressing to people you may not have thought you can express, someone who's completely opposite from what you're going through, someone who's not in the realm of what you do, is actually very healthy. And I didn't think I could trust this one person with this kind of a dialogue. And by opening myself to this person, they were able to tell me that they can foresee benevolent presences. They don't know how to, they think their gift is just to see it, and their gift is to support the vessel of the person who has the benevolent connection. And so this person expressed this to me. They said, I don't want anything but to make sure that your mind is balanced and that you have a place to vent and you have a place to feel comfortable about, going out there in life, because it's a battlefield and you shouldn't have to feel alone. And it almost broke me to tears, because I'm like, damn, this is why I have my YouTube channel, because I came here to not feel alone. It wasn't really to be anyone special or any like whoop-de-whoop, I just wanted to just say, hey, I'm alone and I'm dealing with this, and is anyone out there? And people are responding. So thank you, everyone, for that. I don't want to get too much into the story of Judas, but one thing that did stick out with me was the part about possession and betrayal. And in the Gospel of John, it talked about how Judas was possessed, I guess because seeing what's going on, it's a weird story, but in the environment, and there's many environments that I'm in, but there's, I call it false twin flame, but she came around and said something strange is going on in this room. And long story short, I picked up on it too. And what happened was someone had almost fainted 2 weeks ago, and they were standing in the spot where we felt this weird presence. And to make matters even worse, last Tuesday, it was this celebration day, and we all wore all white. And I kind of see it in biblical terms too, when they talk about the parable of wearing all white, you are washed clean or whatnot. Excuse me. But I think when everything in our regular world mocks those things that are in the Bible, they're mocking it. They're making fun of it. They're not celebrating or worshiping it. Otherwise, they would say it's a feast day and we all want to celebrate. But instead, they're using it for their own selfish purposes. And I stick to my gut that we ushered in something last Tuesday, and it possessed someone. It got to an innocent. And this innocent person is the one who basically made a very horrible accusation. And a very small thing, a gesture, turned into a very horrible situation that literally just almost got me in a heap of trouble. So just like Judas, if you guys can see here, beep, Gospel of Mark, which I didn't know there was a Gospel of Mark either. Where are all these Gospels coming from? The book of Mark is different than the Gospel of Mark, people. Judas committed the betrayal exchange for 30 pieces of silver. Really, Judas? That low? And the Gospel of John suggests that he was possessed by Satan. And usually Satan is trying to get close to the light, correct? And a lot of times these dark entities, they really want to get close to us, to figure out how we do what we do, why we know what we know. And then it suggests here, or it infers that he committed suicide by hanging himself. Judas attempted to return the money, hasn't paid for his betrayal, to the chief priest, and committed suicide by hanging. And you guys know that Lady Gaga did this. Hey, no threats were found on your computer. Thank you. Lady Gaga did this at the first VMAs when she did Bad Romance. Remember, she hung herself. Maybe I have time to find that. Wee! But long story short, my battery's low. Oh, my internet's not working again. Anyways, if you guys look at the VMA Lady Gaga video, she basically hung herself at the end of her performance, and she then created a song called Judas. And in her lyrics, she says, Jesus is my virtue, but Judas is the demon I cling to. And it's sort of like, hey, look. Do you guys see it? Anyways, I'm weird. Seeing orbs. You guys see them a lot in my car, and things float by. Anyways, to not make this go on and on and on, I basically just wanted to reflect on how if people are not pure in their heart with their actions, what happens is some way, somehow, this spirit of Judas finds a way into people, and that spirit of Judas is of the direct descendant of the enemy. It really makes you learn and understand the bloodlines and how each bloodline, whether you like it or not, each bloodline cannot, it's sort of like you can try to be a good person as much as you want, but if your bloodline came from bad blood, it's just bad blood, period. And if you come from a different line of a tribe, your actions will still mimic the tribe of where you originated yourself from. It's just, it is what it is. For me to have my eyes open to someone I have trusted and someone I trusted, and it was outside of my service, to have the person do what they did, it was very detrifying to me, detrimental, and it left me with a lot of grief and sadness, but now I know things are going to be okay. But it's like you can never justify what you didn't do. And then you can't really clarify what you actually did. It's really just, you have to just get thrown into the lion's den of the situation. So, that's really all I want to share with everybody. And the next thing I want to get into in another video would be gematria codes, because 937 was like my last code that I got. And we'll get into that on another day. But I want to share something with everybody before I go. I got a red light ticket 2 weeks ago. Oh, man. left side, but I was looking at the numbers, how I have to appear on or before. This is a Fibonacci sequence, 9 and 6. You have as above, so below, right? On a 19. I didn't do the math, but I think this is a 6. This is anyway, I'll do the numbers later. But I was looking at 144, where I have to appear. And I was like, there is no coincidence at all. There really is no coincidence. Like, this whole thing is just such a... It's confusing. And it just drives you nuts. But then at the same time, it's beautiful. Oh, man. Anyways, I'll let you guys go today. Thank you for my strange randomness video, but I wanted to be a little more coordinated, but you guys get where I was coming from. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video.